So hello again, welcome back. This is the second film of the night that we're watching. This was recorded in May, so it'll probably be autumn by the time that this actually gets up onto YouTube. But we're back again, and tonight we've got a rather interesting film ahead of us, and this one comes...
ahead of us.
Hey, you see, this comes courtesy...
He's brilliant, this one.
This one comes courtesy of Ben. He chose this film for the night, and this is the Monkees movie Head.
I just watched Bikini Model Academy, which I'd never seen and I hated. It made me want to cut my wrists. And Dan's never seen this film I'm going to watch now, so I'm hoping he hates this just as much. Which he might do, because this film is a very Marmite film, as you'll see.
Well, I was going to say, I know nothing about this film. I've never seen it before. I have other than the fact that you told me earlier that it was written by Jack Nicholson, which I find very surprising.
Okay, so do you want the very quick... I won't bore everyone with the history of the Monkees and TV show, but I'll give you the run-up of... Because you kind of need to know what led to this.
Well,
because what led to this thing to happen.
Well, what I'll say is, if we count this film in and we get it going, and then I'll sort of say, we'll take it from there.
I just kind of want to get that stuff out of the way.
Okay, no trouble. Go ahead.
So that way I'm not talking over bits, because you'll blink and miss a lot of stuff in this film.
No, fair enough.
So you're familiar, aren't you, Dan, with the Monkees TV show?
Yes, I believe you showed me a few of them in university. They were very entertaining.
Yeah, so they're just knockabout romps. Hey, with the Monkees. And towards the end of the second season, the four guys themselves, Mike Nesmith, Peter Tork, Davy Jones, and Mickey...
Peter Criss.
Yeah. and Mickey Dolenz. Mm-hmm. They were all getting a bit fed up with the formulaic, cheesy nature of the show. They'd already gotten control of their records by going in and demanding that they play all the instruments. So now they wanted control of the show, which they kind of got with 2 episodes. They sort of wanted to break out of the traditional format of the cheesy romp where they have to stop a baddie and Davy gets the girl and then they sing a song in the middle and there's some cheesy plot about they have to go and audition for a talent show, something like that. And I love the Monkees TV show. I love it to bits. It's brilliant. I've got the entire thing, but if you watch them one after the other, they are very, very formulaic. But towards the end, they get very... basically, the 60s start to happen to the show, and they get extremely more weird and experimental. I think Mickey Dolenz actually got to direct the final episode, The Frodes Caper, which is almost a precursor to Head. And so basically, they got together in a cabin with Bob Rafelson, the director of this, and also producer of the Monkey Show, and Jack Nicholson. Yes, that Jack Nicholson, the very same. And they basically, they got a tape recorder, and they would just get stoned. The legend goes that they got stoned, or they started tripping, and they just shouted ideas into a tape recorder, and that became the film.
Wow.
That became the script. So they would literally, I won't say any of them, because I don't want to spoil it, but they would literally just shout stuff out in a tape recorder, and then Jack Nicholson and Bob Rafelson would go and type it up, and it became a script. And the Monkees actually later tried to sue them, because they were claiming authorship of the script.
Wow.
But, as you'll see, Rafelson and Nicholson get the sole credit. But anyway, I'm not aggressing there, but all you need to know is basically the Monkees were extremely unhappy with their image. They didn't want to be known as the cutesy, hey, we're the Monkees. They wanted to be seen as these weird, avant-garde, crazy guys who just went off on this countercultural little trip. And with that in mind, I think we should just crack on.
Brilliant. Could you just clarify as well, what year was this?
1968.
1968.
So the TV show had just ended at the start of the year. I think it had just gone to its final death throes.
And we're talking post-Sgt. Pepper here. Sort of post-psychedelia, just in the midst of psychedelia, just before the White Album maybe came out, sort of that kind of...
Well, what's funny is that Pepper was... 67 was the year of the psychedelia at its height, because you had Pepper, and you had Jimi Hendrix, and you had all this... People always associate 1967 with being very colourful. Hey, Carnaby Street, hey, cool, crazy. And 68 was when things started... The hippie dream sort of started to get a little bit darker. The realities of this sort of the ideal... People realised that, taking loads of acid and shagging in fields probably wasn't going to change the world. Vietnam was still raging on as much as it did. And Head was probably made in the midst of... the reason Head has the reputation it does it because it was made in the midst of all that chaos and that turmoil. And I think you've really got to understand the times to really view it in that context.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff in Head that really belongs in 1968. There is not a single film that is more 1968 than this film, which works for its detriment and for its benefit, as you'll see. I think that's all you need to know, really. I think we can just crack on from there.
No, fair enough. I think you've given a pretty good context to this. Right then, I shall...
So that was their brief, basically. They were like, we don't want to make a TV show. Make whatever, we want to make anything we want. We don't care. Just don't make it like the TV show. And they certainly didn't.
Yeah, so it's basically a constantly evolving narrative, effectively, in the sense of... Okay, no worries. Right, we're running. Okay, so we've queued this up. We're watching the Criterion release. It's just after the Criterion logo's played. It's literally the very first frame of this film. So if you want to watch along with us...
Big red curtain.
It's the big red curtain. Just cue it up to the very first frame of the film and hit pause. It's on screen now for where your cue mark is, and we shall count you in. So, when you're ready, it's 3, 2, 1, and play.
Take the last train to Clarksville. Right. So Dan, thoughts so far?
This is a very loud film.
Well, this is a very loud bit. You'll have to adjust your...
I've had to actually turn it down. Just so...
I think you'll be right. Can you not adjust the volume via a remote, or do you have to?
We do have a remote control around here somewhere, but for the live, it's over in the far end of the room.
Well,
so
you'll have to get up and get it then.
I could do getting a Pepsi, but I shall wait until the credits sequence, the opening title sequence, to do it, because I know what happens in the opening titles, because I have seen that clip before.
Yeah. So imagine going into a cinema, and you're a Monkees fan, and you're gonna go see your favourite. You're gonna go and see Davey and Peter and Mike and Mickey on the screen, and then this just kicks in.
It just starts with a red curtain that pulls away to a bridge.
It starts with this very, very verite business. Like, it's very like, you know what I mean? Like, it's being played strangely realistically.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost like a sort of documentary.
It is very unusual for a Monkees film. If you've come from the Monkees TV show, you'd probably think that...
Yeah, they say, this ain't the show, boy.
Because I remember when we were both in university, you showed me a couple of episodes of the Monkees TV show.
Well, to be fair, I probably skewed it a bit because I showed you the Frodo's Caper, which is the one that Dolan's directed, and he very much made it like it was the last one that aired, so I think they were allowed to just go all out because the ratings for the show, I should explain, were plummeting. Like, it was on its way out by season 2, so I think the network was just like, fuck it.
Just get anything on.
Just do whatever you want, mate.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they did.
Oh, fair enough. I realised that dead air is usually a bad thing, but to be honest, I don't really have a lot to say so far about how this is progressing.
Well, he's opening a bridge.
Quite literally.
Oh, yeah, that's literally what he's doing, is opening a bridge.
I like the comedy's giant scissors. There we go.
There they are.
Well, hey.
Expect a lot throughout this commentary. Well, I guess there's no alternative.
Wow.
Yep.
Bloody hell.
Just start with a...
We open with a man committing suicide, effectively.
Mickey Dolenz. There we go. So this is the Porpoise song. Written by Carole King and Jerry
Can I just say, the cinematography in this opening shot is beautiful. I really love the composition, how they've done the crossfades and stuff. It looks gorgeous.
It's psychedelic, man. Apart from that dummy shot, which is very obviously a dummy being thrown off a bridge.
Wow.
I love this song. This is like This is like a good rip-off of I Am the Walrus. Like it owes a debt to all those psychedelic, trippy, swashy kind of songs. But it's lovely. It's really good.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And obviously this song was written for this sequence of Mickey being in the water.
Yeah.
So it's got a lovely swirling, trippy thing going on.
I love this. This intro sequence is really
This actually,
powerful.
this actually was the reason why the premiere was 2 months late, because they couldn't get those solarization effects right.
wow.
Well, those were very much. You can do them in like 2 seconds now, but they were very much in their
At the time.
infancy. They took ages to do.
Yeah, yeah. No, it looks gorgeous.
And again, not very much like the TV show.
Yeah. Well, the TV show was very much in line with stuff like the Banana Splits, if memory serves. You know, kind of.
I think Banana Splits came later.
It was a scenario of the week kind of. Well, the Monkey show probably.
I know what
was
you're
earlier,
saying, but you're saying it's like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, this is beautiful.
Is it not hurting your eyes, is it?
No, not at all. Because you often see psychedelia sort of portrayed as this kind of trippy, hippy-dippy kind of stuff.
Well, this
But when you actually see a film that
This is
is
that bit,
legitimately doing that,
This is a genuinely psychedelic sequence. It kind of transcends sense, really, doesn't it?
well, the thing for me is I always, when I think of the Monkees, I always think of the music video for I'm a Believer.
Right.
You know, just 4 lads having a cracking time, stood around an organ, kind of shaking a tambourine and doing the best Beatles impression they can. And then you watch something like this, just within the first 5 minutes, I'm just sitting there going, hang on, this is a completely different beast from anything that's...
The plans for you to hate this have been dashed.
No, I'm digging this. This is great.
I'm digging it, man.
Genuinely.
So yeah, that was the Porpoise song.
I was going to go and top up my drink while I did this title sequence, but
There'll be plenty of time to
I
do
don't
that.
think I don't think I want to.
Oh, very good.
It's very impressive
Oh.
stuff.
I know my.
Hello.
Yes. Jack Nicholson's girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, June Fairchild.
Wow.
Who I believe was in Carnal Knowledge. It came out a few years after
She's
this.
got a little bit of the Brett Eklund about her.
Well, that's just your Brett Eklund fixation coming
Well,
through again.
of course. I'm a fan of The Wicker Man. I don't know if anybody out there knows that, but I am. So
Well, I'm glad we got that established.
yeah.
Well done.
Hey, it's a very, very good film. I can't,
She didn't seem too impressed with that.
No, she did not.
Again, like I keep saying, all through this, just keep picturing yourself in a cinema in 1968. Then again, I don't think anyone saw this. I think it grossed about $1,000.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even joking.
Wow.
And it never played in Britain either. It just played in America.
Wow.
And because by the time this film came out, the Monkees were kind of
Done.
Yeah, people were over them, so it was a little too late. It came out for like a week in America. They didn't even bother to bring it out in the UK, so no one would have seen it at the time.
Yeek. I mean, consider some of the dross that came out in 1968. This, so far...
Like what?
Well, I don't know. Name any of the dross that came... I'm thinking of the dozens of exploitation films that were released on labels like Something Weird Video.
It's not exploitation, it's...
No. But that's what I'm saying. When you consider the amount of tat that did get a British screening... So far, I've not seen this film at all. But of what I've seen of it, I'm astounding it hasn't.
So what do you make of the scene where a woman comes in and just snogs them all and then leaves?
Very odd, but it's shot very nicely.
Well, what about this then?
Hey, now wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Hey, we are the Monkees. You know we love to please. A manufactured image with no philosophies. We hope you like our story, although there isn't one. That is
So this is Ditty Diego.
there is more fun. You told us you like action and games of many kinds. You like to dance, we like to sing, so let's all do
This is the Monkees saying, fuck you. How dare you like us?
love to give you and give it 1, 2, 3.
But make them feature 1, 2, or jump from 9 to 5. And when you see
they do fact. We might tell you one thing.
You can't see it, but I've got a very big smirk on my face at the minute.
There's a very, very funny recording of the four of them recording this. All stoned off their heads. Jack Nicholson was directing them as well. It's really interesting listening.
Hey, we are the monkeys. We've said it all before. The money's in, we're made of tin, we're here to give you more. The money's in, we're made of tin, we're here to give you more.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's that famous. You ever seen that famous photograph of the bloke with the gun to his head? In
Yeah,
Vietnam?
yeah.
Well, that's the actual footage.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, we're barely 10 minutes in, and already we've had references to acid, we've had references to Vietnam, free love, hippies,
Wow.
W, A, ah. Get it?
Whoa!
Get it?
War, man, what is it good for?
Get it?
Absolutely nothing.
Do you get it?
Huh, say it again.
Do you get it?
I get it.
I don't
Do you get it?
get it. Hey, we're the monkeys. Vietnam.
When are they going to have a comedy story where they do some running around to Pleasant Valley Sunday?
Fuck, that is a Vietnam bit. So we're in Vietnam now. Alright.
The question I'm asking myself all the way through this so far is, can you imagine the Beatles doing this?
Yeah, later on.
Could you seriously imagine all four of them sat in a trench with John looking over the parapet going, I think there's something coming, lads, but I'm not sure.
Maybe later on. Beatles loved the Monkeys. John Lennon loved the Monkeys.
Yeah. The Monkeys and the Beach Boys were two of the biggest
They were there
influences
when
on the Beatles.
they recorded A Day in the Life.
Really?
Mike Nesmith was there, you can see him in the video.
Wow.
You ever heard the Monkeys song, Randy Scouse Git?
Yeah.
The four kings
That was-
of EMI are sitting stately on the floor. The four kings of EMI are
The Beatles. Wow.
Because it was based on a house party that Dolan's went to with the four Beatles.
Wow. No, I'd never...
The same house party where he met his wife, Pop Pickers.
You see, that song gives me very strong memories of college, because when I was in college I used to run as part of the local radio station. We had a college radio station that I was one of the chief operators on, and we used to play Randy Scouse Git like weekly. So war goes on.
So there you go.
I think this is a comment on American culture, potentially.
I think it's a comment on how many drugs can young rock stars be force-fed.
On masculinity, potentially. The idea that males can be driven to a strong determination, whilst at the same time be forced into a
Peter
position.
Talk used this scene as an example of how the director of this film, Bob Rafelson, there's no love lost between him and the Monkeys, and Peter Talk famously said that, you know, that bit where Sonny Liston was just hitting him, not Sonny Liston, the footballer, was hitting him over and over. It's like the director was like egging him on, like, go on, hit him harder,
Wow.
hit him harder, do it. And Pete was like, it's very strange. Basically, the Monkeys and Bob Rafelson had a very difficult relationship, quite a rocky relationship. This film kind of severed ties with them,
Wow.
because they saw this film as his attempt to like kill the Monkeys, kill the myth. But I would dispute that in a sequence coming up. I'll point it out when it comes up. But yeah, Monkeys said for ages, oh, this film was Bob Rafelson trying to kill off the Monkeys. He wanted to just make everyone hate them. He was tired of them, and
It seems counterproductive, though, to get a director on board who would actively try to sabotage.
Well, Bob Rafelson was he basically created the Monkeys.
Yeah.
He's the guy. Him and Bert Schneider would produce the TV show. They cast the four guys, and Bob Rafelson went on to create this film. And Rafelson actually went on to have a very successful career. He was a producer of a lot of very famous films in America. He produced Easy Rider,
Really?
which coincidentally, of course, stars Jack Nicholson. And he produced 5 Easy Pieces. And he later won an Oscar for a documentary about Vietnam called.
Was it Apocalypse Now?
No, it was called Hearts and Minds or something like
Yeah.
that. But now, look, see this sequence coming up now, I think this disputes the myth that they wanted to kill the Monkeys, because they've never looked cooler than in this sequence. So this is Circle Sky, and it's a fucking tune. See, they could play.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind these people who said they didn't play their instruments, they're playing them there.
I mean, I frequently listen to the radio DJ Ian Lee, and he actually owns a record label that releases Rare Monkeys records.
What do you think of this track?
I'm gonna listen to it. It's got a nice rockabilly.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
clearly the work of Monsieur Nesmith.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah.
a very country vibe.
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
it's definitely got a Mum and Nantucket vibe.
Well,
about it.
it's great because it's basically take a very country western song with the ding and play it with electric guitars, and it sounds ace.
I can see what you mean. If they stripped this back to an acoustic number, it would sound fantastic as a country song, but with it, that amped up rocky vibe to it.
The studio version just pales in comparison to this. This version is ace, and I love the way it's shot. It's like a fairground.
Yeah.
All these lights and double and these mirror images playing off against each other. The Vietnam imagery though is it's just odd. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, I think it's connected to the previous shot.
There's that famous photo
Oh yeah,
of the guy with the glasses head like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the film of it.
I'm trying my best to try and draw comparisons between the Monkeys performing on stage now and the Vietnam stuff, but I am struggling. I'll be honest. I think maybe it's a comment on capitalism, possibly.
Well, my
The idea of
my personal
imperialist
feelings
America?
about it. My personal feelings about the Vietnam stuff and using the footage of people actually dying is that I think their hearts are in the right place. Like I think they genuinely did feel like they wanted to make a comment about Vietnam and about the war, which is great. But I feel like they were probably a little naive.
Overzealous.
Not overzealous, just like naive. Like they just sort of they knew what they wanted to say, but they didn't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Because they just kind of just chuck footage in. And see, they're ripping them apart. Fuck you, Monkeys fans.
Quite literally. Why am I getting the vibe that this could have been directed by Russ Meyer and it would have probably have been as...
Wouldn't have made much difference.
Yeah.
Slight shock. Her son Anthony Beyonce just told a provocative story about his relationship with Barbara.
Hi, Prince Ralph Williams, one of the world's largest coordinators.
So now we're just watching telly from 1968.
What's astounding is that footage from 1968 still looks as rough there as it does now.
Well,
I imagine that age would have made the
there's
film...
Ronald Reagan,
Wow.
when he was still the governor of California.
And not the president and almighty superpower of the
And
1980s.
there's Boris Karloff in the Black Cat.
Wow.
Baloney. Perhaps not.
And if you look coming up now,
You're always looking for talent.
Yes.
Watch this.
not her. There's me.
Wow. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, it's my cameo.
Nice.
Years before I was born.
So what was it like being in Head? What was Jack Nicholson like on set?
Oh, Jack, baby. Jack was in a league of his own. And now we're in the desert with shirtless Mickey Dolenz. A sight I imagine many teenage girls would have been very happy about at the time.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I am aroused right now, quite frankly, but...
I'm aroused by his curly hair.
Mmm.
I must.
So Dan, if I asked you to explain the plot of this film, what would you tell me?
So far I would describe it as...
He can't get Danny can't get his Coke bottles.
He just wants his Coca-Cola.
And no, it's not a comment on cocaine.
Just wants his Coke, man. Just wants his Coke. How is the Coca-Cola powered?
It's powered through love. Free love, man.
Why is that the question I'm asking in this film so far? There are dozens of other questions I could have asked.
Okay, I'm
Can I have that as my avatar?
Yes. He fell. You should have been saying Mickey Dolenz. You fell off a bridge earlier, and then you made out with some mermaids,
Then you were in Vietnam.
Then
and
you were
now,
in Vietnam.
And now you're after a Coke machine.
and now you're punch.
Isn't it George Michael Dolan's?
George Michael Dolenz was his real name. It's not a somehow psychic reference to future pop star George Michael.
Ah.
How's he gonna get out of this one, crazy kids?
I reckon that's going to help. I'm getting really minor vibes back to a film I reviewed a while
I
ago.
thought you were gonna say like I'm getting flashbacks, like acid flashbacks. He's gonna say something really important. Look. I love that.
I'm getting really minor flashbacks to a film that I reviewed a while ago called Split. And it was recommended to me by somebody who watches my channel called Joel, who's a great guy. And that film was really odd, and it was sort of centred around jumping around in space and time quite regularly.
Well, speaking of jumping around in space and time, that guy, that actor there, turned up in a lot of Monkeys episodes as a baddie. They generally fought foreigners, from what I remember on the Monkeys show.
Were they labelled as foreigners or
Crazy sheiks and Arabs.
Oh dear.
Ah, che piacere che ti ho trovato, eh. Senti un po', non ci andiamo, sì? Perché sotto queste circostanze, noi
So the problem is, I want to go and top my drink up because I'm very thirsty.
Oh,
But
God,
I-
do you want me to go and do
I
it?
can't break away from. Would you mind? I've got some.
You're very subtly hinting, aren't
I've got
you?
some Pepsi in the fridge, and I would go and do it myself. I've never seen this film before, though, and I'm genuinely
Right.
confused.
Carry on being entertaining while I...
Thank you so much. I'll try my best. So a load of army guys have turned up in the middle of the desert, and they're surrendering to Mickey Dolenz. This is a new experience for me. I'm sure whoever's listening to this has probably watched this at least once or twice, if not dozens of times. I have no idea what's happening at the minute, but I am really enjoying this film, which is even stranger. It's shot wonderfully. It looks gorgeous. I love the fact that they're using sprawling location work, and those live performance sections are beautiful as well. I can't speak for the script particularly because it seems like a random mishmash, and as Ben described, a lot of it was pretty much just spoken into a recorder and put to good use. But seemingly this looks fantastic. I'm very surprised by it. And now Mickey Dolenz is in a tank.
Can you see how most of it was written by shouting into a tape recorder?
Yeah, oh, thank you very much.
Like
Cheers.
you can imagine him going, what if I'm just like in a tank, man, and then I just blow up a Coke machine? What happened then? And then they'd probably all giggle about it for about 10 minutes or 10 hours, depending on how much weed they'd smoked. And then
And then it happened in a desert somewhere.
alright. Next number. This has got the most 60s title ever. It's called Can You Dig It?
Oh, okay.
And it's got my favourite thing in the world.
Belly dancers.
Yep.
Hooray.
I might go a bit quiet during the sequence.
But Ben, I need to ask you, how does this fit into the BMA universe?
No, don't remind me of that. That was smut. This is class.
This definitely does have an air of classiness about it.
I do like belly dancing.
And this music's really catchy.
Can you dig it?
I can dig it. I'm down with this.
Peter Tork wrote this one.
Really?
Yeah, you can tell he was really into. He was like the George Harrison, and like he had a really Indian Eastern sensibility with his songwriting. And you can tell because it's got that ding little ling kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a hard life, eh?
Wow.
Sitting around watching all these women do their thing.
You see, I think this is actually a good fundamental draw to bear in mind because as we mentioned at the start of this, we've just finished watching Bikini Model Academy, which was one of the worst films I've
Don't
ever
make
had
me
to
think
sit
of
through.
that.
But the
Can you
cheapness
at least
of
wait till this bit's over?
well, this is what I'm saying. The cheapness and smuttiness of that film makes this look really high art.
Well, I think belly dancing's like an art.
It is an art.
It's not just like, oh my god, we're shopping, or
Yeah.
we're good.
It takes skill to be able
As
to
a-
do something like
That's
that.
like Eric Cartman by the sound of it.
Yeah.
apparently.
But it's the way that this is shot. It's shot with an experimental eye in mind. It's shot to look visually
It must have been-
appealing.
This must have been really big in the 60s. I remember I watched Batman recently, the Adam West Batman, where the baddie had a load of belly dancers as his like henchmen.
Yeah.
I didn't object in the slightest,
Oh,
but
I need to get around to them. I had the full box set given to me for Christmas 2 years ago, and I've so far made it 3/4 away through season 1. And that's it. I don't really have time for TV shows these days as much as I used to.
too busy getting pissed.
Well, that and watching random episodes of Mystery Science Theatre.
Davy Jones is very much enjoying the sight of these lovely ladies. They did this live a few years ago, and his wife came on belly dancing.
Wow.
I could have gone and seen them. I didn't.
Well, they came to the UK.
Yeah, they played. They did all the hits, and they played all of Head. It
Really?
was in all the songs from Head.
Wow.
And Head has as you'll find out, has a fantastic soundtrack. It's probably one of the
Yeah,
best pieces they put together. Really.
Yeah, this so far has sounded very solid. Very
The original
solid.
vinyl album is really great because like the songs are interspersed with dialogue snippets from the film, but they're like collaged. Like Jack Nicholson actually got in a studio and made them himself.
Wow.
Snipped the dialogue together and made these funny little collages.
Nice.
It's hard to explain in words, but and now we're here.
In Davy Crockett times.
There. You can help me by pulling this painfully barbed savage's arrow.
You know, I think you were right.
Oh.
I think you were right to recommend that we watch this film after the first film because we've been slowly drinking whiskey
Stop talking about that film.
throughout
Let
this.
it be in the past where it belongs.
We've been slowly drinking.
She turned up in a lot of TV shows as well.
Oh,
they
yeah.
kind of they reuse a lot of the.
Reinforcements.
But I think being the right level of inebriated really benefits this film. If you watch this sober, I could think it might be a little
I
bit
seem to
irritating.
recall that actress. I think her name's Terry Gart, and she was in the first episode of the Monkees way back in '66
Wow.
when
Come on, get up, lady.
David J.
Lady, come on, get up.
Oh yeah.
What is this? Hey, come on, stop playing. It's all over. It's gonna end. Come on, get up.
Well, stop kicking me.
No, I don't want to do this anymore, man. Oh, these fake junk and the fake trees, Bob. I'm
Yeah. Bob Bob referring to Bob Rafelson,
Yeah.
and that's what Mel Brooks must have seen before he did it properly in Blazing Saddles. Now we're here.
I like.
Just kind of happens, this film.
This is a film that only has love for its audience. I think that's the nicest way to put it. Whereas films that normally do this kind of
In the words of a in the words of a really obnoxious lecturer, who was it made for?
I think it was made for us.
Just me and you.
People like us.
Before we were born.
People like us. Weirdos who have no other free time and enjoy whiskey and watching films like Head.
I think it was clearly aimed at people who were
Of an artistic mindset.
Well, without wanting to sound too, it was aimed at heads, as in it was aimed at people who were kind of hippie-ish and weird and kind of out there.
Yeah. But that's the thing. One of the things that I'm really digging about this film is the fact that whenever films like this try to do it sort of I'm not doing this film kind of thing, it comes across
Oh,
as
you mean
somewhat...
like the fourth wall joke you just
Yeah,
did?
when they break the fourth wall and kind of... Because they've done it a few times so far, where they've kind of acknowledged that this is a film,
Yeah.
and then subverted it by breaking into a completely different scene.
Yeah.
whenever films traditionally do that, it feels like they've got contempt for the audience. Like they're saying,
I don't think this film has contempt.
well,
for its
that's what I'm
audience.
saying. This is doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Whereas films that do that tend to be sort of like, oh well, we're just doing this because you guys know you like that kind of stuff. This
Heads-
film actually seems quite inclusive. Like it's trying to bring you into its world by saying, well, we'll do this for a bit, but we're not bothered about that. Now we're on to this, and we'll do this for a bit, but okay, now we're done.
Head's too entertaining to have contempt for its audience.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I suffered from ADHD, and I still have flare-ups now of it occasionally.
You're going to
and
really
this is-
suffer with this film then.
No, I find this brilliant because its timing is just brilliant.
Oh,
It
this-
doesn't focus
this-
on any one scene for too long.
This is a reference to something real.
They're coming! They're coming!
Because apparently, when they were in the canteen, they were looked on in contempt by their older peers,
Yeah.
by their older co-stars and the older crew. And people would just clear out the canteen when they came in.
Wow.
Because they were like, oh, these kids. Who are these kids, see? Coming in here.
Who are these monkey men I've been hearing about?
I'm miming smoking a cigar for all you crazy kids.
Yeah.
Who are these kids coming in here? Who do they think they are? They're monkeys? I don't get it.
Yeah.
They're not Herman's hermits.
No, I'm finding it very.
This film seems to have, if it has contempt for anyone or anything, it has contempt for the monkeys.
Yeah. But
It does do quite a good job of ripping apart their image.
Oh yeah, it's very self-deprecating in the sense of it's not going for the traditional Monkeys. Because as I say, I've seen a few episodes of the Monkeys TV show, and I know the band in terms of their music videos, and it's completely different to that. What I'm saying is that I think that this film is breaking the fourth wall and saying, "Oh, you don't want to watch this, you want to watch this," but it's doing it's doing it in an inclusive way.
You missed that line.
Oh yeah.
The waitress said to Dolans, "Are they still calling you the new Ringo Starr?" See, now they're openly acknowledging the Beatles comparisons that were so often made around this time.
Well,
Oh, you're just a cut-rate Beatles.
Yeah,
oh, you're just
yeah.
copying the Beatles.
well,
You're
that's
not really...
still an insult that goes in the modern day. Whenever anybody listens to the Monkeys, they go, "Hey, this just sounds like Poundland Beatles or knockoff Beatles or that kind of thing."
No, so much more than that.
Oh yeah. Well, watching this so far,
Well, they
I
were
can
so-
see that.
I don't think they were better than the Beatles, but they were their own beast.
Well, I mean, I'll say
Or at
this.
least they grew into their own beast. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they were four individuals from four very, very different backgrounds, and they made fucking weird music, and they made this, and this is the result of four very, very different people coming together and making a thing, and that's why it's so odd, and that's why it doesn't make sense, and that's why. Oh, now I sorry, I blinked. We're boxing now. Okay.
But this is what I'm saying. I like the fact that it has that level of variety.
Yeah.
That anything can happen in the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, and you know that it's going to change drastically.
This is pretty impressive, by the way, for a chap who, by the way, had never directed a feature before.
Well, that's another thing as well to keep in mind with it. Like I say, I wasn't expecting it to be as punchy, as lightweight, and as
You said punchy.
yeah.
Davy Jones has been punched
As-
by it's Sonny Liston.
It could well be.
Guy who lost to Muhammad Ali
Yeah.
in the I don't know sports.
I just didn't expect it to be as light and as you know on its feet as it is. I was expecting it to maybe have at least a string of narrative running through it.
No.
But this is completely happy to just do a section as long as it's happy to do the section for, then jump to something
It just
else.
kind of gets bored and moves on to something else.
Yeah. But that's okay because so far
Sorry, I think that's funny.
so far at least it doesn't seem to languish on scenes long enough for me to get bored with them. Everything that's happening is on long enough that I'm like, this
Yeah,
is really interesting.
I take back what I said before. I think actually you probably will get on with this film because you don't have very good attention span. So you just like really short scenes one after the other.
I'm known for clock watching. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. If something goes on for too long, I start, clock watching, see how long I've got left of the film and how long I've been watching it for, that kind of thing. So if scenes don't overstay their welcome, I'm on board with it. And this film so far has been so energetically happy to just jump scene every 5 minutes that I'm like, I barely get used to what's happening before it's changed.
So this is taking the piss out of like that boxing convention of you gotta do it, Davey.
Yeah.
You You gotta live the dream. You gotta. Yes. Rather.
I won't get hurt.
And then he just walks off the set.
This is what I'm talking about. I love stuff like this. Just the idea that they can have the gall to
It's
break
more-
the fourth wall in that sense.
It's more the fact that it was the monkeys doing it. But to be fair, the monkeys on the TV show, they did do quite a lot of that kind of jokes.
Well, that's the thing.
Like I remember, like stuff like Mickey Dolenz. Someone would say something like ridiculous, and Mickey Dolenz would go, "Hold on a minute, let me check with the writers," and he'd walk off the set, and he'd go to like a thing marked writers' room, and they were all like Chinese old men smoking opium, like like Confucius style, like, with massive cigarettes, and he'd get something off them, then he'd come back and he'd be like, "Hey man, that's groovy, I dig it." So even they were very, very. They were always very self-aware. They were always very self-conscious and very like. They knew what it was all about. They didn't kid themselves. You know.
They knew how the industry worked. And
That's kind of like I was saying. That's kind of what this film led to, is because they were so tired of being crammed into this pigeonhole of being the four happy, chappy lads.
They want to be able to sprawl out and do what they felt.
They just wanted to do something weird and something dark and something that would upset people.
And that's fine.
And something that people would go, what was that all about?
I mean, I'm half tempted to say that this film so far has been...
I mean, it's not as bad as 33.5 revolutions per monkey.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
No.
That's bad.
What's that?
That was a TV special they made after this.
Oh.
Long after the TV show was over, and a year after this.
Mm.
Oh, it's awful. It's really bad.
I mean, I'm half tempted at this point to claim that it might even be video art. Because so far I don't need to necessarily know what they're saying.
I don't think video was a thing.
Well, no, but the concept of video art is that it's
I know what video art is.
Well, yeah, but the idea of it is that it's a film that you don't have to know what's being said or what's happening. You just need to know how it makes you feel. And this film so far hasn't said anything to me.
You missed Peter Tork punching a waitress. You were too busy looking at my beautiful face.
Oh.
There's Bob Rafelson, the director.
Yeah.
In a very, very snatching and very, very fetching blue neckerchief thing.
Looking lovely.
I wish I could pull off a blue neckerchief. And who's that chap in the flowery shirt, Dan?
Is that the one Jack Nicholson?
That's the one, Jack Nicholson. And look who else turns up. I think you can see him in the background. Because again, we're doing like a fourth wall thing here.
Can't see him, but...
Dennis Hopper.
Is it Dennis?
Yeah.
Wow!
Right, and that was right around the time they were making like Easy Rider. So see, this film was like right bang in the middle of everything, like everything that was going on, like that was important around this time.
Well, this is why
This film was right bang in the middle of that.
This is why I say I think that it's a good example of video art in a sense, because it doesn't. You don't need to rely on what's being said to understand the film. You just need to watch the visuals and know how it makes you feel.
Peter Tork, if you want to know, he's getting upset that he punched that waitress.
Yeah.
And he's saying, "Why did you make me do that, man? I don't want to do that. The kids aren't going to like that. I don't want to. That's a bad example." And they're just like not asked.
Yeah.
Like Bob Rafelson and Jack Nicholson are like, "Yeah, whatever, man, whatever. It's cool. It's groovy. Next scene." You know.
So that's where we leave this, where he's kind of walking away from it, going like, you know.
But how weird is it to see just the two most important countercultural stars just pop up in the Monkeys film
in the middle of it?
It's snowing now, and now the next number. As we go along.
So can you explain to me why this film hasn't had a Blu-ray release?
It has had a Blu-ray release.
Can you explain to me why this hasn't had a UK Blu-ray release?
So this film, you can only get it on Blu-ray as part of a collection called something like America. It's like it's a collection of like 9 films made in the countercultural 60s and 70s. American films. And it's like, it's 5 Easy Pieces, Kind of Knowledge, Last Picture Show. You can only get it as part of that set. However, Dan, I'm not paying 90 odd quid.
No.
Just for Head. As much as I love it, you know.
I mean, to be fair...
You've paid 90 quid for Head, haven't you?
Wow. I'm not getting into that
It's
story.
funny because sex. Anyway, continue.
The thing that, no, I can't. I couldn't justify 90 quid just for this one film. But I don't understand
You can
why...
only get it as part of a collection on Blu-ray.
That's the thing.
You can get it on DVD, but you can't if you want it on Blu-ray, you have to get the collection. You can't buy it separately.
That's the
It's part
thing,
of the Criterion release.
I'd love to see this film get a Blu-ray release.
It does have a
Like-
Blu-ray
Well,
release.
you know, but like a Blu-ray solo release.
You know, the Blu-ray release has a commentary as well by the Four Monkeys.
Really?
Yeah, which I would love to hear.
Yeah.
But guess what? I can't.
Because you're not paying 90
Because
quid
I'm not
for-
paying 90 on quid. As much as I like Five Easy Pieces, and I love the Last Picture Show. I think Easy Rider's in that set as well, but I've got Easy Rider anyway, so I don't want to buy that again. I don't want double dip. But
Well, we can only hope that a
have you seen
company...
Easy Rider?
No, sadly not.
Never seen Easy Rider.
It's on my list. It's on my list.
Very long list.
I've got a ridiculously long list. Ben saw my collection today of films that I have to get through, and I think he can testify that it's a pretty sizable haul that I've got to
I think
get
it's
through.
films that were made by BBS, which was Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider's company. Rafelson and Schneider, who produced the Monkeys TV show, they produced this, of course, and they used a lot of the money they made off the Monkeys went into doing things like Easy Rider,
Wow.
and Five Easy Pieces. So the Monkeys have a very small but important role in the story of, I guess you'd call countercultural American cinema. The Monkeys have a very small but important role in that.
Yeah.
Their star shone briefly, but you know, it shone bright.
See,
And
watching stuff like this, I'm drawn
there's
to
the mountains now. I guess they just filmed the four separately because I think it's okay to say, because it's been documented well enough, but by this point the four weren't exactly getting along terribly well.
Yeah.
In fact, they couldn't stand each other. In fact, on the first day of filming this film, they all went on strike
Wow.
over a dispute over pay. So, day one, shot one of shooting the Monkeys movie, none of the Monkeys were there.
I think that this...
Which kind of, I think someone said that kind of set the tone of the rest of the shoot. Yeah, they weren't getting on terribly well.
No,
And
no.
Rafelson wasn't getting on with them, and it was just, by all accounts, it just wasn't.
I mean, I'll say this, the direction and cinematography so far on this film has been absolutely
I
astounding.
love this sequence. I mean, it's just pretty. And
Yeah.
I think,
I
mean,
mean-
Rafelson says something like, we need something to slow the pace down, because we've had this madness for all the way through this film, and we need something to kind of chill out for a minute.
Well, this is the thing, I often lambast
Ooh,
films.
signs.
Yeah,
Commercialism, did you get it down?
yeah. I often lambast films for...
We're in a factory now.
I often lambast films for having nice visuals but not having a particularly decent script. But this film seems to have its soul in the right place, if you know what I mean. It seems to have its heart in the right place. It knows what it wants to do, even if it's a bit misguided in how it wants to do it.
Just a bit naive.
Yeah.
The criticism I level at this is that it's four young guys who are very much filled with a very incredible sense of self-confidence, and which isn't always a good thing.
They're making a film
There's a line coming up here, which I think sums up the film for me. The tragedy of your times, my friends, is that you may get exactly what you want. Kind of sums up the Monkey story for me. They got exactly what they wanted, and it wasn't exactly good.
Yeah. But this is it. I mean, I'm watching this film, and I'm normally, for a film like this where the visuals and the direction are solid but the script is a bit iffy, I'd be sitting here going, oh, this is rubbish because it's boring, because the script doesn't do anything. But
Well,
I
there
feel...
was a script written by a bunch of acid heads
Yeah.
in a lodge in California.
Well, this is the thing. I feel like this script... The best
I
way
can
to
tell you
describe
where I
it...
can tell you where that lodge was. It was Ojaj, Ojaj.
Yeah.
How would you say that?
Ojaj.
Okay, the Ojaj. I don't actually know. And
The-
now they're in a. This bit's important. They're in
The best way I
They're
could...
they're in a black box because they felt trapped. You see, so that's why they're against black.
The best way,
Get it down.
yeah. The best way I could describe this film, and again, I say I don't want to sound too hippy dippy when I say this, but like I say, it just feels like its soul.
Wrong hair now.
It feels like its soul is in the right place. The script might be very dubious in terms of what it's trying to say and do.
What do you think of this sequence where they're on hair?
It seems fine. It looks good.
Apparently that really hurt.
I could imagine those hair strands are really itchy. I'd imagine. This played in cinemas, Ben.
Played in ass cinema.
A cinema.
Well, I think it wasn't exactly like Head is a nationwide, massive, multi-marketing release. Oh, the marketing of this film is a whole other weird story.
Well, we've got time.
Well, yeah, I guess. But there's this happening, Dan.
This is what I'm talking about. This entire film so far has said absolutely nothing to me, but visually, as a piece of art, it looks gorgeous, and it's saying so much without physically saying anything.
So, Dan, they were on Hair, and now they're in a tunnel. Now they're here. And there's all these cool little meow sounds.
Should point out tonight, for the sake of anybody listening this far in, that Ben is drinking Clark's.
This feels very Batman-y.
Ben is drinking.
As in the 60s TV show.
Yeah,
They're not bothered about what I'm drinking.
Ben is drinking Clark's whiskey.
They're not bothered.
Available at Aldi.
Oh, it's that bit there where Mike Nesmith had the giant fag.
Yeah.
He wanted to, when they originally filmed it, he said, he made some joke, he went, that looks like a marijuana cigarette. And they were like, you can't say that. But they were like, oh, come on, man, this is our proper moment where we're being grown up. Let's just fuck it, let's just cut the shit, and let's just make an overt drug reference. Because so far we've kind of hid behind them and subtly winked at drugs. And he was like, let's just full on say it. Come on.
Yeah.
Who cares? Our star's on the fucking fade anyway. You know. But, so there you go, Pop Pickers. More Head stories. And here's... Oh, that must have hurt.
Ouch.
I really like those white boiler suits they're wearing for some reason. It reminds me of Pete Townsend, him with a white boiler suit at the Woodstock. But that has nothing to do with
See, I'm getting a Mike TV Charlie and the Chocolate Factory vibe.
Yeah, I see what you mean there, with the spinning through the tunnel and everything.
Yeah. I'm drinking Jim Beam. That's Red Stag, and it's a black cherry. Thought you'd care to know.
In case you're keeping track.
I think this
Alright, next number.
Wow.
Daddy's Song. This song was written by none other than Mr. Harry Nilsson.
Really?
Yeah.
He's dressed like the Third Doctor.
And now he's not. Snappy, yeah.
I like those frame matches.
Yeah.
That's ridiculously accurate.
Accurate? To
Yeah.
what?
Well, like how the frames are cutting back and forth.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were comparing it to something. That's why I was like, oh, accurate.
Well, these...
You mean it matches? Well.
Yeah, well, these aren't accurate. These shots are starting to be a bit mismatched.
Well.
But that initial kind of... Every time, bang, it'd change and it would be perfectly matching.
That shit's hard to do.
It's very hard to do, especially in the 1960s where you couldn't actually see what you were filming.
Again, like I said, from a first-time director whose only experience so far had been a handful of episodes of the original series.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That was amazing, where they were just flashing back and forth between the black suit and the white suit.
Davy Jones has to have a little show tune number. That was his thing. I never cared for Davy's show numbers, but I like this. I like this because it's quite dark. By the way, guess who that lady is?
Go on, I can't
That's
see.
Tony Basil.
The Tony Basil of Mickey.
Oh,
fame.
Mickey, you're so fine. That's her. She did the choreography.
Wow.
Because you know she was a bit of a countercultural figure. She's an Easy Rider.
She sued South Park recently, you know.
What?
She sued South Park recently, you know.
She sued them.
Yeah.
Why?
There was a scene in an episode of South Park, and I think it was 2015, 2016, where they did a parody of Mickey, and she took them to court over it. Because
she wants money.
Yeah, effectively.
She was an Easy Rider. She played a hooker.
Wow.
See, everyone just kind of... They were all part of that little clique, you know what I mean? Of like the cool Hollywood guys.
Yeah.
We work in Hollywood, but we're cool. We smoke weed and we hang out with Roger Corman
And Dennis Hopper.
And previously, the previous year, they'd made Nicholson had been in The Trip, which I don't know if you've ever seen.
No,
Roger
sadly
Corman
not.
film, which basically just full on advocates LSD. So it's great, and everyone should take it all the time forever.
Because it literally can do nothing wrong.
Didn't get a BBFC release. This has nothing to do with Head, but you know, The Trip didn't actually get a BBFC release until 2002
Wow.
because they weren't sure about it, because they were like, look, this full on just says drugs are great.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing is, what got it a release was because in their last report they were like, the language is so outdated, and all the clothes and all the hippie fashions, that they were like, no one could watch this and take it seriously. And look who turns up now. The cameos just keep on coming, man.
Wow, it's the cow who started the fire.
with the cow. Look,
Tommy Wiseau. Oh, it's Frank Zappa.
Tommy was Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa, man.
Didn't he do an interview where he once said, "I think the monkeys are a generation ahead of our time," or
Well,
something like that?
that was in.
Monkeys is the craziest people.
Terrifying.
I just wanted you to see that.
Terrifying.
Monkeys is the craziest people. Yeah, Frank. No, that was in the second to last episode, where for some reason they were allowed to bring on their celebrity mates, and Mike Nesmith brought on Frank Zappa because they knew each other pretty well, and Nesmith was dressed as Zappa and Zappa was dressed as Nesmith, and they did a thing where it's like, well, thank you, Michael. I think the Monkees are a true inspiration. I think their music is pure and clean, and you know the funny thing is, Zappa. You know, he meant it. Like, he thought that a lot of the so-called rock, like the Beatles and the Doors and all that stuff, he would always say they were very phony. It's like the Monkees were, I don't know, he always said about the Monkees that they seemed very genuine to him, and it seemed like they meant it.
Oh.
And, I mean, he turned up in their crazy-ass psychedelic film, so I guess he must have, you know.
Wow. I mean, I have very strong memories about 2 years ago of finally deciding to listen to Zappa. Because Zappa was always one of those artists that I knew he produced a ton of music, but I never actually got round to listening to any of his stuff. And I decided conscientiously about 2 years ago.
Sorry to cut you off, but there's more fourth wall stuff going on there. The policeman said, what have you guys been up to? And they were like, well, first we were in the desert, and then we were in a factory, and then we were in Vietnam, and then suddenly we're here, and then we were in a cafe, and then we were on stage, and then...
He's like, I don't have time to hear this, you lollygaggers, get out of here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But I'd never given time to Frank Zappa's material. I listened to about 3 of his albums, like, non-stop for about a 2 or 3 hour period. And I thought he had very interesting style.
They look really cool.
Yeah, they do. It's just one of those things where it didn't click with me.
Yeah.
He didn't hit as hard. I was expecting him to be quite a hard figure of the 60s, a kind of, you know, music that would make me go, wow, this is something different.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of my own age and the way I grew up that it just didn't happen that way.
What's behind the mirror, Dan?
I'm going to say it's Frank Zappa again.
No, it's this.
Whoa! A terrifying eye.
What's Peter Tork whistling here?
Ah, Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah.
Very
More
nice.
Beatles referencing.
Nice. I gotta say, I'm really digging this film.
Davy Jones, look, he's having a bad trip.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But this is the thing.
He's seeing the third eye, man. He's seeing the eye in the pyramid.
I went into this with an unknown quantity. I didn't know what I was going to expect from it, and I can't comment on the script. The script, as far as I'm concerned, is just sort of wow.
What?
It's the flashing, just wow.
Nobody ever lends money to a man with a sense of humour.
I went into
Something
this...
that they overheard. Apparently, that was one of their in jokes.
Well, like I say, I went
It
into...
constituted a flash framey bit.
where
are we now?
I went into this film with no idea of what to expect, and
In a haunted bloody house.
So far, I'm really enjoying it, just for how
Davy Jones
strange it is.
is tripping his absolute tits off because he was in a bathroom
Yeah.
and now he's in
A medieval castle from the Daleks.
the chase.
He is in the chase. The 1964 Doctor Who
The
story.
set looks like it was left over from one of the TV shows.
It does.
They did a few haunted house episodes. They did a few the monkeys meet Frankenstein-esque things.
Oh god. No, I'm really getting into this. I like the vibe it's giving off. Even if it doesn't necessarily have a coherent script, just how it's telling its narrative through the visuals. It's really strong.
The coherent script is called "Fuck You."
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not got. That's the thing though. It's written, but it's not written with the sense of
Very-
contempt for the
I'm
audience.
getting very excited about this.
I'm liking it. It's good. Wow.
Like a shredded greenie.
This is the thing. The script doesn't seem to be coming from a place of
See, this is
contempt.
good drug humour, not like the other shit.
Yeah, it's written. It's written in the sense of we're giving off this vibe, and if you want to hang on to it, it's good.
Oh, now this is happening.
Okay, this is a little bit racist.
No, it's not. It's just.
It's a little bit racist.
They'll be fine.
Now here's my plan.
See, they're here now.
Now, for the last time, where is, what's his name? The greenie. David Jones, sir. Yeah, Jones.
We told you 100 times, good officer, sir. We last saw him inside the John, comfort room.
All right, I believe you.
Oh, God.
Sir, what about David Jones? Fine, don't worry. Now, out.
It's such an underloved film. No one cares about this film, but they should.
That's the thing. They should. This is great.
This film's always like, whenever anyone talks about the monkeys, this film is like a footnote.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
kind of
story.
like oh yeah, and they did this.
Yeah, exactly right. I watched a documentary on the monkeys on some channel, not MTV. It was like some thing on, I can't remember what channel, some Sky channel. But they devoted like 5 minutes to Head when it should. Well, really, Head's like a very pivotal, very important part of the
Yeah,
story. It's their glorious fucking end. It's their glorious trip
Yeah,
out. you know.
it's their big burnout. It's their big flash out. It's where
Yeah.
they kind of. It's the phoenix, so to speak. It's it erupts into flames
Right.
and then
That's a very dramatic way to put it, but yeah.
yeah.
Something else I was going to say that was great.
No.
I can kind of get why, because obviously Head actually didn't come out over here, so
Oh wow.
the cop's dream. Head didn't come out over here, so obviously not too many British Monkeys fans were probably
Yeah, it's
even aware of its existence.
such a shame this is not a
I think
video.
it got a mention in one Monkeys fanzine, like an article like, there's a Monkeys film coming, and then it never came.
It's such a shame that I chose to make this just an audio commentary, because if I'd have
I
done
love
video...
they've kind of done up the pad from the TV show. It looks a lot
Yeah.
cooler and psychedelic.
This is the thing, if this was a video commentary, what you'd see is every 10 minutes me just break into a really manic smirk as I'm
But
sort
you'd
of
also
watching
see
what's
both
developing.
of us sitting here nude, which no one wants to see,
And drinking whiskey.
and holding hands.
And holding hands. And occasionally doing a little kiss. Occasionally doing a little kiss.
Nude holding hands. This is the pad from the TV show, but they've kind of made it a little bit groovier, a little bit more psychedelic, and a little bit creepier. By the look of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get some pizza. I'll be right back. It's a shame I'm breaking away from this, but
Stop.
please do fill me in when I get back. I'll only be a minute.
I'm gonna shout everything that happens.
Please do.
Oh, there's ladies on the screen now. Got the boobies out.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. I put in the wrong DVD.
No, you didn't put Bikini Model Academy in again,
Oh
did you?
no, my finger slipped. It said Bikini Model Academy on the disc, but it looked like the words Head. So you know. Oh.
We've all been there.
I nearly said, just then, I nearly said you're not missing much in terms of plot, but that kind of goes without saying. Oh no, Dan's not answering me. I think he's gone. I think he's been taken. Have you been taken? Well, that's the end of Dan. I guess I'll have to take over duties now for the rest of the commentary. Hey everyone. You're missing more.
Oh, cool.
We're tripping again.
No, I can get behind this.
They ate too much LSD again.
I'm getting the fear.
Getting the fear going. I'm talking with my mouth open again.
This is still a comedy dining experience, by the way. I'm eating pizza, he's on cheesy chips still. This is positively Dalek-esque. And also terrifying.
Yeah, it's a bit heartless. This is like Nesmith's just been exterminated.
No, this is beautiful.
He's not wearing his famous wool hat because he didn't want to.
It just reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons Fear of Flying, where Marge has the flashback on the bus and she's got a monkey's lunchbox. One of the kids goes, "Ew, you like the monkeys?" You know, that's not even Mike Naismith's real hat. No!
Yeah. You know, I think it's scientifically impossible, right, to shoot a bad 1960s disco scene.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be done. It can't physically be done. And here's the next number. This is groovy. This is called Do I Have to Do This All Over Again? And it's by Peter Tork.
Wow.
Again. That looks very suggestive.
It does.
It's really pushed the line and what was acceptable for a Monkeys film.
This is the thing, I mean, stuff like this.
That girl just then was stoned off her gourd. See her face?
That's the thing, stuff like this would be recycled in the early mid-90s into stuff like Groovers in the Heart by Delight and things like that.
Are
You
you
know what I
talking
mean?
about the 90s obsession with the 60s?
Yeah. But it's exactly scenes like
the 90s
this.
was basically just wanting to be the 60s badly.
But I remember sort of growing up, seeing music videos that looked just like this.
Seriously, can you shoot a bad 1960s? It's not possible.
It's not possible.
There are bad films that have really, really fantastic 1960 disco scenes.
I agree with you.
And not that this is a bad film, but Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
You know, you just took the
Has
words
a-
right out of my mouth. I was literally just sitting there going, this is basically a scene from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is not a good film.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. Fundamentally, it is a
Hang
really...
on, whoa, what's wrong with Beyond the Valley of the Dolls?
The script
It's
is...
fantastic.
The script is awful.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is a cheeky, it's very satirical.
It's a very
look
cheeky
at the fag end of the 60s.
Yeah.
Kind of the same era that Head's about.
It's a very satirical, cheeky, tongue-in-cheek sort of look at 60s counterculture, but at the same time, the script of it is absolutely dire. The
No.
dialogue's really poor.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Talking out your ass.
It is not a believable film.
This
in
is my
any-
happening and it freaks me out.
That's a good line, and I'll give you this, the incense and peppermints section of the film is
Yeah.
particularly impressive. The rest of the film is rubbish. It's just a load of women walking around trying to be sort of empowered without the need of being empowered.
I don't buy that.
What?
Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is way more clever than you give it credit for.
I mean, I'll say this about it. It's got impressive direction and cinematography.
It's self-aware. It kind of knows how daft and stupid it is. It's just mine, for fuck's sake.
That's the thing, though. It's self-aware and it knows what it wants to be, but it isn't necessarily a good film because of that.
It is.
I mean, I need to rewatch it at some point,
Get it
obviously.
rewatched. It's so good. It's like it's so ridiculous. And it's so aware of itself. And
See, my memory of it was that it was so ridiculous that I couldn't take it seriously as a piece of film. And when everybody's telling me that it's this genius masterstroke, I just kind of sat there and thought, well, it's all right.
When you
but
say
it's not-
everyone, you don't mean everyone because no one said that. You're
Well-
referring to me.
Well, I mean, I refer to you, but also some other big film critics like the sorts like Kermode and
Has he ever talked
Ebert
about it?
and yeah, Kermode.
Of course,
likes it.
Ebert would talk. He wrote the bastard
Well, that's
thing.
the thing. You know what I mean?
Of course,
you know
he
what I
talked
mean, though?
about it.
This is what I'm saying, though. It's the likes of those big name critics saying this is the film of the generation, and I watch it and I just thought, well, I mean, it's okay. It's got a reasonable script and the city and direction look fine.
You just said it had a crappy script.
Well, the script's okay. I mean, but it's only okay. It's not anything that I sat up and went, this has been
Anyway,
more. This has been
Beyond
more.
the Valley of the Dolls has nothing to do with this.
This is what I'm saying.
So,
This, I feel, has more to say about 1960s counterculture than
Oh,
Beyond the
she's-
Valley of the Dolls does.
she's tripping. People are freaking out again.
But would you agree with me on that, at least?
Yes, I don't know. I wasn't listening. Anyway, so
So what's this a comment on?
this is a comment on how many drugs can you give to 1960s TV stars and see what they come up with, and they they come up with a very ponderous scene where
I do believe it's wrong, definitely.
more 60s TV,
Standing around and laughing.
Yes.
because we got another 2 minutes to fill.
Jump out of cars, they rob you.
Somebody wants to get you that shit. That's a violation of your civil rights. Go ahead.
I reckon anyone was left in the cinema by this point. I mean, young people would have been utterly baffled.
If we were there back then, I can tell you now that I would be sat on the front row.
Yeah,
Just
that's you.
Staring at it in awe.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of those poor teeny boppers who.
Who really love that clean monkey sound.
I love Davy Jones. He's so cute.
Hey, I've heard
And
they've
then
got a new movie out called Head. We better go down there and see the midnight screening. It could be pretty awesome.
They'd have left the cinema by this point. They'd have been like, "What the fuck is happening?"
What on earth are we watching? Meanwhile, the art crowd.
But then the thing is, the art crowd didn't like it either.
Yeah.
Because it was the monkeys and they were out of fashion. So basically, that's why the film made no money, because it appealed to no one.
But in that sense, it gives it its ultimate sort of
Because, like I was
release
saying,
from restraint, if you know what I mean.
If the teeny boppers aren't going to see it because it's too weird, but the weird people aren't going to see it because the monkeys are in it.
Because it's too mainstream.
Yeah.
But that's what, as I say, that's what gives it its ultimate release. It means that they can do whatever they want to do because nobody's going to be watching it.
And then in prison.
You know what this is
Prison.
actually in that
The
sense.
prison of their own stardom.
In that sense, you know what this is reminding me of? This Morning with Richard, not Judy.
Your last trip.
Well, this to Wunringer.
Yes.
In the sense that Richard
What
Herring.
about that?
Well, in the sense that Richard Herring and Stuart Lee knew for a fact that no one was watching the show because it went out early on a Sunday morning, so they could do whatever they wanted effectively.
Look, it's a guru.
Or beneath what the league would be said.
David Lynch.
Once
They just stop the film for 5 minutes where David Lynch goes, "I would like to talk to you about transcendental meditation
you're telling,
and how it will make you be a great filmmaker like me.
I remember you saying you
Just sign up for a $300 course.
I remember.
And you will be great, and you will have big, grey, spiky hair like me, and it'll be brilliant."
I remember you saying you bought his autobiography recently.
No, I bought his he did a book called Catching the Fish, and it was all about like where I get my crazy ideas from,
Oh.
and that was the subtitle. Where I get
where I get my
where I
crazy
get my crazy ideas from,
by David Lynch.
and
Kiss.
I don't know. I have some issues with transcendental meditation.
What's your major issue with it?
The fact that it kind of people get weirdly addicted to it. It's like a bit of a cult. And I love David Lynch to bits, and I hold nothing against him as a person. I kind of think he has the same relationship with it that Tom Cruise has with Scientology, in that he sincerely, wholeheartedly, 100% believes in how great it is. But I think he's just a little bit like, I don't know,
overly smitten.
Yeah, but yeah, he makes out in his book like the only way you can ever be creative and be great like me, David Lynch, the great filmmaker that is me, is to meditate. But ignoring the fact that meditation can kind of people get, I don't know, there's a weird stigma about it. Like people can get weirdly addicted to it, just like any drug, you know, just like any drink or anything like that. It's not the be all and end all answer to everything in the world.
Well, I mean,
but anyway, that's my bit on meditation.
Well, I suppose if you get into a situation where you believe that you're only creative when you go inside your own head and find peace.
No, what it is,
quotes.
is the sense of being trapped in your own head too much can be very disturbing for some people, and I don't think a lot of people want to be trapped in their own head.
Unless you've got peace in your own mind with your own external life, or you have a space in your head where you can retreat to. Transcendental meditation can actually be more damaging than
I'm
beneficial.
not saying it doesn't work for I'm sure it works for a lot of people. I'm sure it works for him. It must do. He's been doing it for fucking 60 billion years.
But the question that needs to be raised is whether him doing that is because he feels he can't be creative without it,
No,
or
I
whether
think he'd have been fine without it. He'd have been just as creative. Meditation didn't give him his magic filmmaking powers. He could have done it anyway.
See, I've always been led to believe that David Lynch has a lot of anger as an undercurrent to his film, both his filmmaking and his real life, and that transcendental meditation allows him to kind of restrain that anger to an extent and control it in a format that he can utilise more creatively.
Hey guys! Hey
Got
guys!
a naked woman in his arms.
At least that was my understanding.
My understanding of it is it can just be a bit dangerous sometimes. We're back in the factory now. They actually had a room for him like this when they were making the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they could just sit and not bother anyone.
Wow.
For a while. And it was like this, just a black room. No windows or anything. But I think it's understood that this is meant to be like their interpretation of like how trapped they felt.
Working in an industry where they were just surrounded by yes men and crowds of fans,
Just being those happy, crazy, hey, cheeky chappies with the monkeys.
but being restrained by what they were allowed and weren't allowed to
People
do.
generally, right, they generally say that we're monkeying around. But what they don't understand is we're generally just too busy singing to put anybody down. So, get out of my face, you dick.
Which of the monkeys said that? I like to think it was Davy Jones.
Ringo.
I could believe it.
Ringo said it. He said, "I am sending you peace and love. Now fuck off with your fan mail, you cunts. It will be put in the bin where it belongs, you fucking knobheads. But I will put it in the bin with peace and love.
Peace.
I will put it in the bin marked peace and love.
Peace and love, open brackets, no autographs, close brackets.
Peace and love. Get your fucking autographs at my face, you peasants." This is a message of peace and love.
He's done now. He's done now.
Get your fucking fan mail off my doorstep.
Don't even think of signing that email, because I will not respond.
It will be blocked. You must go in your media folder. You must find the bit that says library. And
Peace and love.
that's an in-joke.
Go away.
Unless we pay it
He's doing the bit that the guru gave him before.
to separate us from the reality of the now.
I'm getting the
If you
vibe.
study transcendental meditation, you can make a razor head.
This far in, I'm getting the vibe, exactly as you described it, that we are watching four young men who don't really know who have a vague idea of what they want to say, but don't really know how to say it.
You got too many drugs.
Desperately trying to express themselves with a relatively modest budget, but not a lot of way of
Pretty
expressing it.
Pretty healthy budget.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been all over the shop. They've blown up a Coke machine and they've bloody had all these big numbers for the songs. And
I think it's fair to say I don't think a film like this could be made in modern times.
can you imagine One Direction making a film like this?
Can you imagine? That would be what the example would be. That would exactly... You've hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what this would be. Imagine if One Direction...
I hit a nail on your head.
Imagine if the band One Direction, or if Ed Sheeran suddenly decided that he wanted to make a 90-minute psychedelic freak-out movie.
I mean, I'd go see it.
I'd go watch it.
Just out of sheer... Yeah, Davy Jones. You kick ass and take names, mate. Well, Davy Jones is from Manchester, so he knows how to throw a punch.
This entire film so far has just wowed me. I have no...
Why you didn't think you'd see Davy Jones throwing people to their death?
I like to think this was a prequel to the Doctor Who story Spearhead from Space.
Yeah, John Pertwee turns up in a minute.
Yeah.
Hand me, woman.
How many? Naimon? That's Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Wow!
Kick some ass, mate. So much for all that peace and love bollocks.
I tell you what,
Just fucking punch people, mate.
I really want to see this in 4K played in a cinema.
Oh, there we go.
I love the fact that they walked out of this scene by smashing through the paper, and then they've come back into it by smashing through the paper.
We don't want any trouble.
Well, I'm telling you, listen, I don't know what goes on up and down this here block, and you're in for plenty of trouble. Yeah, right, boys?
Prove it.
Well, why not?
This film's amazing.
You ever just jump cut and then you've got a cannon? Uh-oh!
Oh, wow!
It's a giant Victor Mature, and he's gonna... He's gonna control the fabric of time and space.
So which of the Infinity Stones did he get again?
If you blink at any point in the next 10 minutes, you'll miss something vitally important. Hey look, we're back here now. We're in the desert. Hey Dan, do you remember when we were in the Vietnam?
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess they're gonna die now.
That'll be alright.
they'll be fine.
They'll be fun. The monkeys.
Monkeys don't die. Look, see?
Yeah.
Oh, they're fucked now. Look, ISIS are after them.
Not again.
That's ISIS's target. First we will destroy the West, and then we will destroy the monkeys.
Then we will take on Mickey Dolenz.
Just imagine like a video like on the on YouTube, like Mickey Dolenz, you are next. Your decadent ways are over.
But I'm like 74. I ain't made a movie in years.
Why does he talk like that?
That's
Oi!
fine. I don't know what Mickey Dolenz sounds like when he's not singing, so that's fine.
He sounds like Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane when he sings.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty much like that when he talks.
All this film has told me is that I really need to go and watch the Monkees live.
Well, what if they won't do that now because Davy Jones is dead? What this film has taught
That
me
being
is
said, though,
that-
didn't they do that? Didn't they do a tour recently without Davy Jones?
I don't know, maybe.
think
They
they
did it
called
all
it.
without Mike Nesmith.
Yeah.
Because he's always been a grumpy cunt. He's always said he doesn't want to...
He's the Mike Love of the Monkees.
He's not that bad. No, he just doesn't want to... He just doesn't really give a shit about the monkeys. He just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Hey, now on a golf ball!
This is a brilliant movie.
You kind of just accept it now.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just in it for the ride. I'm just enjoying it. Oh, wow!
Hey, the cow's back!
The cow bit's so far been my favourite bit.
Where's Zappa? The one who was like, monkeys, they're crazy little speakers.
We're watching reality fall apart. I hope you realise this. We're watching the reality
This is my reality.
of the MU. So do you reckon there are any Monkeys fans left in the cinema at this point?
No. The cinema's empty. They've probably stopped showing the film and broadcast the...
But it's not like that. It's my paycheck.
It would just be the two of us left in the cinema gripping the ends of the seat going, yes, yes.
Inside of our head, we want in all different directions, running in any direction toward infinity.
You have a strange language, little one.
Me?
I think I will die from it.
And now we're a silent movie. We're all things, and yet we're nothing.
That is, again, a good description of what this film is.
No, it isn't.
I think it is. I don't think this film has an overall message.
And
if it-
I wouldn't disagree with that.
If it does, I can't find one. I think that...
What if that's the monkey mobile? No, it's not. They had a car in the first episode. They had a monkey mobile.
I think that this film, it has a bit of everything.
God,
apart
there
from...
was so much money chucked at this film.
Yeah. Apart from moderate sci-fi, which I don't think this film has any sci-fi elements to it. I think this film's got a bit of everything.
That's because sci-fi was. Oh. Uh-oh.
I just say this has been a very adventurous evening so far.
Oh. Uh-oh. What's happening now, Dan?
One of the largest suspended arch bridges in the world.
Wow! Circular narrative!
Yeah! You just got Nolan.
That's cyclical, I'm okay with that. So that's why they were running.
Uh-huh. Not that it makes any more sense than it did previously.
Well, no. But wow! The balls of this film.
Testicles.
No, the balls.
And
Rubbish model shot.
we get to enjoy Pauper's song again. We all get to do it this time.
So would you see this as an official end to the Monkeys TV series?
Oh, this is an official end to the Monkeys.
Well, both the Monkeys and the Monkeys TV series.
The chorus of this song goes goodbye, goodbye, and it feels like it really does feel like it feels final. It really does feel like you're saying
I could
bye
believe
to the
it.
Monkeys.
I could
And I
genuinely
know
believe
that
it.
they did another TV special after this, and I know that they went on to reform and do gigs. But really, the Monkeys, the spirit of the Monkeys, this is this sequence right now feels like the final end of the Monkeys.
Yeah.
Like, it's done with now. You know, whatever spirit was there has kind of been extinguished and is now.
No, I totally agree with you. I believe watching this end sequence play out, it does have a sense of finality about it. It feels like, well, where do you go with a band from here?
You don't. You just stop.
That's the thing. Or in the case of the Monkeys, you do a special and then reform and do a tour for a few years.
Well, in the case of the Monkeys, you all decide you don't like each other very much, and you do a really, 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 really bad TV special, and then you do a couple more albums that no one buys, and then you call it quits,
Oh, wow.
and then one of you goes on to help find a very famous music channel, and the other goes on to direct a lot of children's television, and the other two don't do much really.
Let's not forget the theme from Metal Mickey, of course, which was a music classic.
Because Mike Nesmith never had to work again, of course. His mum invented Tipex.
Yeah.
So he was right. He didn't have to make out with psychedelic mermaids in a pool. He could just,
Wow. Can you imagine if any band in the 21st century decided to go out like this? If any mainstream pop band.
Yeah, but to be fair, no one from the 60s, no one watched this when it came out in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was completely bombed.
Yeah.
It was a complete failure.
This is a great film.
Critics pissed on it. No one saw it at the box office.
But everybody's wrong.
I know that, but
I mean, I the problem is, and this is the biggest problem I've got with this film, is that there's...
it's done now.
Yeah. This is the problem that I've got with this film, right? Normally, I'd rag on it for the fact that the script is completely incomprehensible. But at the exact same time, it's that incomprehensibility that endears me to it so. If the script had a narrative, I'd be pissed off with it because it'd probably be boring. But the fact that it's so sporadic and it's so energetic in what it wants to do, even though it doesn't know what it wants to do, makes me think that this is a great film.
Oh, it was Sonny Liston.
I mean, visually, it's beautiful. Every shot looks great. There's nothing in this film that makes me go, ooh, that looks a bit... But the script is the only thing I have an issue with. But at the same time, I think that they couldn't have done anything other than this at this point.
Ken Thorne, who did the music for this, but also scored the Beatles film Help.
Wow.
Pop Pickers.
Thank you so much for introducing me to this.
You'll notice that... Oh, the credits are backwards there. I'm not sure what that was all about. Maybe it was meant to be psychedelic.
Wow.
Raybird production.
No, I can honestly say I've never seen anything like this, and I'm very, very grateful I've had the opportunity to see something like this.
Oh, it's crazy. It's burning the film off the thing.
Wow.
Because you know the title head also refers to the top of a film strip.
Yeah, the head of a film strip.
The head.
So why did it end with a woman laughing?
Because, you know.
Well, that was Head, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and I'm genuinely speechless at what I've just witnessed.
I hope we gave good head.
I hope we did. I can only thank my partner in crime here in helping me get to grips with this film. I've never seen anything like it, and I think that this has become one of my favourite films. It's actually breathtaking. I genuinely can't think of any other film that I could compare this to. It's a beautiful thing.
It's kind of defies description. I don't think you can imagine any film like it. Any film where four individuals, with the help of a system that was, you know, he had a producer and a director and a writer who was behind them 100%. Basically had the total means and the power to just literally make whatever they wanted with as much time and money and power as possible. Not that anyone saw it. It didn't help. But the fact that it exists is kind of a weird miracle in itself, so fair play.
No, fair play indeed. I'm genuinely smitten with this. As I say, I can only thank you enough for bringing it in on this one. But yeah, that was Head.
What was your favourite song from it?
I really like just the intro sequence.
Pauper's song.
Pauper's song
Yeah.
is beautiful. But then again, what was the name of the track immediately after that where they were all on the stage and they did that weird mirrored effect?
Yeah, that was Circle Sky.
Circle Sky. That is fantastic. The whole soundtrack
Try and get the live version if you can, because they recorded a studio version and it's not as good. It sounds a bit dry and a bit sort of lifeless. And Monkeys also didn't record the studio version.
Oh, right.
Mike Nesmith. Well, they weren't talking to each other, so Mike Nesmith got musicians in to do it. But here's some extra curricula for pop pickers. Could try and find a recording it's on YouTube of them recording the Ditty Diego, which is the bit with the screens like, hey, we are the Monkeys. You know we like to please. A manufactured image with no philosophies. Little sarcastic little thing.
Yeah.
There's a recording of them doing that in the studio, rehearsing it over and over, and Jack Nicholson's there in the studio, like directing them how to do it, and it makes for really interesting listening. And they also get really stoned halfway through because they just start giggling and just don't control themselves. But it's really, really weird to hear the Monkeys and hear that very, very recognisable Nicholson drawl. You know, it's like, okay, guys, from the top. Do it like this. 1, 2, 3.
Well, we're saying
That's my Nicholson. That's about as good as it's going to get.
Well,
Hey,
we're
Dan, do your Jack Nicholson.
hello guys, how's it going?
That was good. Well done.
Thank you. But thank you very much for tuning in anyway. There'll probably be another one a bit later on in the year. And yeah, cheers. I hope you enjoyed Head, a film that I've watched for the first time tonight, and I've been genuinely blown away by how
sun's up.
wonderfully bizarre it is. The sun is coming up. It is about 4:15 in the morning in the middle to the end of May. And we have one more film to do tonight, and we hope that you will join us
I don't think we'll do it.
for that. So, thank you very much. Check out any other videos that you happen to see on my channel. I hope you enjoy it, and goodbye.
Bye, kids.
Bye.